Going live. All right, we're live. It's Alicia Stringer here. We're on the Millionaire Mindset Hangout, and I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to create some huge success dreams, focusing your mind on the millionaire mindset. We've got 7 crazy effective steps. We're so excited to have you guys come out here today on our lucky and March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, creating some really great fun stuff for you guys. I'm so excited. You better have your notepad and pencil or whatever you like to take notes on, because these are going to be some deep steps. We're so excited to have you guys out here today. So make sure you participate. If you agree, write down these steps in the chat. Come along with us. In fact, if you see us live right now, make sure to say, hey, I can hear you, because I couldn't get my internet to load it all right. Maybe I need to refresh my computer. You know how crazy technical stuff sometimes that works. So I'm excited to have you guys out here. It's been kind of a sunny, cloudy day here in Nashville, and I've got a daughter that's 8, and that's driven me to stay home and mastermind with these wonderful moms here. And we have over here, and our next panel is over here to, let me see, let's go to Greta, and then Valerie's going to start us off with some of her #1 point steps that you can write some notes on making sure you have an effective millionaire mindset. So let's go over to Greta.
Oh, we made it! It was just one of those scrambling mornings. We've been working really, really hard at gathering all this information and making it as juicy as possible for you today. So I'm so excited that you're here with us. My name's Greta Campagnolo. For those of you who don't know me, I welcome if you're new. We're always excited to be hosting these Hangouts every week for you. And yeah, today is no exception. It's going to be really exciting. And please, you know, interact with us. These Hangouts are live and interactive for you, so that you can get, you know, the most out of this as possible to take your life and your business to the next level. So a little bit about myself. I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia, Canada, and I'm a crazy mompreneur of half a dozen kids. And I am a homeschooling mommy and a natural mom, love healthy foods and all that good stuff. So they may come in and out depending on what's going on. So yeah, Keisha, why don't you come out and say hello?
Now, can you guys hear me okay? Because I have somewhat of a delay, you guys. I see your sound is coming, and then your lips is moving, kind of like a Chinese movie or something. I'm excited to be here with all of you lovely ladies as usual. I was able to rearrange my schedule so I didn't miss it. We have some powerful information that is really, really going to help you with whatever it is that you are deciding on in your life right now. I can't wait for us to jump into it. I'm a mother, I'm a blogger, I'm an entrepreneur, and I know there's, you know, quite a few out there. I see we have some people just chiming in. The numbers are jumping up. Our audience is growing, and I'm excited. So let's just get started. Valerie, I'm going to just turn it on over to you.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my lower third isn't working today, but I'm Valerie Jampolsky from Abundance Now, and I am a mom freedompreneur. I've got twin 5-year-olds. They are in the other room right now. I'm going to give you something, my usual alert. They do have the jammies on. They have a tendency to strip naked. I am, what can I say? They know not to do it outside. I used to be an entertainment attorney, and while I was on maternity leave with the twins, the studio that I worked for bankrupt, laid everybody off, and I was faced with a very powerful decision. And frankly, I'd actually started the process, which is we're going to talk about here today, because while I was sitting there in my office, really pregnant with those twins, I had made a decision. I knew that I wanted to be home with my kids. I knew that I did want my kids raised by nannies, and I wanted to really be able to talk about things that really matter to me, like this, like abundance and mindset and all of that, and to really be home for all those precious moments. And I started to see that in my life. And lo and behold, 6 months into my maternity leave, my situation became. So I'm going to start this process with you of talking. My story actually leads into all of this, because my story is very much
a reflection of how this works. So we're going to have 7 steps that we're going to go through here. I'm going to start with one, and then Alicia's going to go in, and we're going to all be chiming in because we, with all the different bits and pieces to be ready to take notes. Open up your life, okay? Because a lot of this, those of you that may know T. Harv Eker, one of the things he always says is one of the most dangerous words in the world are, I know that. Some of this you may know, but there's going to be bits and pieces, and even if there could be one nugget that transforms everything for you, because a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is some of the secrets, the hidden secrets to, if any of you have watched the movie The Secret, there are pieces that are missing, okay? Because a lot of people that do to work with mindset and using the law of attraction or whatever, and they're not seeing results. There's a reason for it. There's stuff that they're missing, and we're going to be going over that today. We're going to be going over a lot of those missing pieces. So there could be that one tiny piece, and it's like, oh, wow. Okay, so stay open to that, and often, even if you've heard some of this, your life can be open and hearing it from another place, because you develop. We always develop, and there's always a deeper level. We're always growing. So with that, I'm going to go into step 1, which is, I'm calling it awareness, because it's really an awareness of a different way of looking at things, all right? And it's a shift. It's a shift. And what I may say here may go against what a lot of people say, but there's a lot behind all of this. And there's a lot of folks that go and understand this. Bob Proctor, Michael Bernard Beckwith, there's a lot of folks that are, and many others in the New Thought area that understand this. And it is the awareness that instead of, most people, they go and maybe they're making vision boards, or they're doing whatever they're doing, and they're reaching out there, or they're setting goals for something that they want in their lives, and they're reaching out there for the someday when this is going to happen, for the someday, what am I going to do? What are the actions that I need to do to create this thing out there that is not in their physical, I'm going to turn off my little dinger here, that is not in their physical environment right now, right? So, you've heard people say that your life isn't your current circumstances. You are much more than your current circumstances. Well, you are. And it's in a very much more profound way. And I'm gonna give a quick analogy here. I'm going to throw something out at you, and the moment you hear it, there'll be those of you that are going to go, what? Really? That doesn't make sense. But I want you to open up to this. Because the idea that you already have everything. You already have everything in the invisible. It is already given. And any dream and any thought that you have ever had about anything that you want, you would not even be able to have it if it wasn't already yours. It's how things work. It is in the invisible. I'm going to give you a few analogies. In the science, right now, we're on the internet, where we're communicating with you, streaming via something that 50 years ago they would have probably thought you were freaking nuts if you attempted to describe it. It was something out of science fiction, right? But the reality is the science for it existed. So the ability in the universe to do this, it's always been there. It has always been there. It's not like all of a sudden, that everything adjusted in the way things work to make I'm not a person that, I have no idea technically the science of how the internet works and how you get the satellites, everything else, but the reality is the science for it, the ability to do it was always there, right? And then someone had the vision for it. It was like they got this, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this? And then they started asking questions. And they started taking actions on those instincts. Well, let me go this, let me do this, let me try this, let me go this, let me go here. I'm going to work on this, work on that, and they created it. Same thing with electricity. It was in the awareness. It was always been there. It's always been possible, but no one knew how to physically manifest it, right? Until someone put the effort in, keeping hold of that vision, knowing it was real. It was already there. It's just a matter of kind of like unpacking it. Like if those of you, I'm raised Jewish, so I always say I don't always assume, but those of you that celebrate Christmas, because I'm raised Jewish, Buddhist, I got all kinds of stuff in my background, but those of you that celebrate Christmas, Christmas Eve, right? You got your presents there. They're yours. They're already yours. Or your birthday, for those of you that are raised and don't do Christmas, your birthday. The presents are there. There's presents on your birthday. You know it. You're excited. You get excited about it. They're already yours. All you got to do is unwrap them. This is the same thing. It's having that awareness that it's already given. It's almost given before you even think of it, it's already given. You can get excited about that because, like the excitement that you have before your birthday, the excitement that you have on Christmas Eve, especially if you want to go back when you were a little kid. You know, it's like it's already yours. And that gratitude, oh, I'm so thankful. It's already, it's there. It's that feeling, right? It's having the awareness that it's already yours, as opposed to reaching for something in the future. Because what happens is when you reach for something in the future, if you understand the concept of law of attraction, what you're putting out into the universe is always reaching. So then you are always reaching, never having. If you already have it, then it's just a matter of the process of what to do, and we're going to go through that today. What steps do you do for the manifestation? But it's already yours. So that's what I'm going to start with step 1.
That's very powerful, Valerie. I remember it related to my story as well. When I was trying to figure out what was wrong in my life, on why I was just so stuck for so long, and it was really finding. I was going through the Think and Grow Rich book, and I was reading a lot of the fears that a lot of people that get stuck on. You know, so this awareness level has so many different levels to it that you're learning and finding more awareness in your life. But it was when that fear of that I actually, this is so hard, that I actually had that fear that I married the wrong person, and I fear that I was in that relationship that I didn't know like how to get out of, and I was like, wow, I was just finally aware that something was that issue was brought up, and had that going on. So it was that awareness going, I got to do something about this. Nothing is getting better. I've tried different things, and it was like more than a 6-month process of me personally like figuring this out and going through it, and reaching out to a lot of people and figuring out their intention, my intentions, and just finding more of that awareness and clarity in it. And that's what kind of brings into number 2. I found that awareness that I should not be in the situation I was in, and finding what should I do about it, and bringing on to I just need to make that decision and leave. I need to leave this environment. And number 2 goes into, you've got to set that clear outcome. You got to make that decision. You found that awareness of what was wrong. Going for so long, this person has given me, crap every day. You're getting those negative comments every day, and you don't know why. I was like, I'm just sitting here and I'm getting yelled at, and I just don't know what I'm doing, or there's nothing that you can do. And it was just build up, and you're at a breaking point, and something's got to happen, right? So that's where, dang it, you got to make that decision now and set that clear outcome. Something has to change, and you found that awareness of what has to change now, and that was just such a powerful movement that you have to move. It's not a lucky chance that you found that awareness. So many things that were coming up at me and going, I've got the reactions that came to here and how people were acting, and it's just so clear that a change needs to happen. So we discussed a lot of things in finding that awareness and perception that you have, so it can this awareness can happen throughout each of these steps that you go through. You're getting a little bit more clear of what needs to happen. So the first part, she talked about that clear awareness that comes out either of your feelings of everything Valerie just said, and then you move on to that decision that you need to make, that clear outcome of what you can do better, what you can change, what you can possibly imagine now that you made that awareness. And that can be a very powerful movement, because I would not be where I am if I didn't make some decisions that things needed to change. I needed to move out of my environment that I was in, and being a preacher's wife and being the known person around town, and kind of someone that always looked up and kind of the hierarchy in the community, is now kind of changing. They don't know what happened to me. They know something was going wrong, but I am no longer known in that community. So she up and left, and have a whole community probably still mad at me because it was a, you know, people just don't get divorced unless you're you know, made adultery or something, and being under that such I guess I want to say hierarchy in a way. I don't know how you describe it, but it's a way that I had to make a decision to change. And I think that that's it was one of the hardest times in my life, hardest decisions to actually go through a divorce. So that was just the powerful awareness of going through that. And making that decision can be very powerful. So if someone else was to relieve me of that pain.
Yeah, I want to jump in on this because it's powerful. You went through a shift, and I want, you know, just sort of, you know, just for clarity for folks watching this, because it's not just saying what you don't want, because that's actually really, really important key. What you saw was what you did want. You wanted an environment where around you, the environment around you, was something where it was a positive environment, right? You wanted to have comfort and positive environment. You were talking about how he would be yelling at you. He's just sitting there and he's yelling at you. So reaching for what you don't want, you got a divorce, but reaching what you don't want, the reality was, if you focus on it, it's actually what you did want. What you did want was a calm, loving environment around you. You did not have that, so you realized you went through the awareness of saying, okay, this is what I want, and then you took action on it. There's the process of steps on that. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you actually took the words out of my mouth, Valerie. I was going to say, Alicia, yes. So part of that making a decision was you knew why you needed to make that change, why you had to make that decision. Like Valerie said, you knew you wanted something better, you deserved something better, and you knew that this was not the outcome that you wanted to achieve. So you decided, I need to make a decision, and you knew why. You know, that's so important with this whole step here. So not only do you decide that there's something that needs to be changed, you're aware that you have the power to do it, but when you know why, it'll get you closer and closer to that goal.
Right.
So that was really a powerful analogy that you gave us, Alicia, for that step.
Yeah.
So did you say anything?
Yeah. Well, the other thing I want to point out is this, especially if you're looking at financial stuff as well. I mean, that's personal, so you're looking for, and so now Alicia's setting the intention of the right environment to have around her, the right relationship, and the positive as opposed to what you don't want. Because if you go for the negative, trust me, my experience, working for what you don't want, you just attract more and more of it. So, like, for example, for me, with me wanting to be home, I'm sitting there pregnant, and I wanted an environment where I could be home with my kids. So, universe moved and made that happen, so I was home with my kids, right? But my focus was not, I don't want to be in the office. My focus was, I want to be home with my kids. I want to have freedom. I want to be making a difference in what I do. I was focusing on the positive, what I do want, not what I don't want. Because if you're focusing on, I want to get out of debt, there's a difference between focusing on, I want to get out of debt, to, I want to have so much money, you know, I have more than enough money to pay for my bills. I have more than enough money to go on vacations and do things and decide when I want to go and do the things. And I want to have instead of saying, I don't want a boss telling me what to do, and when I can go on vacation, say, I want the freedom that I can make the decision to go whenever I want. It's a shift. I want to be in the position where I can go on vacations whenever I want, then I can go and be there with my kids whenever I want, that I can do the things that I want to do and I want to be there. That instead of saying, I don't want this job where, you know, I'm doing things that I don't like, it's like, oh, I want to do something where I have meaning, where I'm making a difference, right? It's adjusting it not from your outcome in a positive, not a negative. Because if you're focusing on getting rid of, right, then you end up, you're focusing no more this, no more this. You're actually, you end up attracting more of the negative. You end up attracting the very thing that you're wanting to get away from. Right? So it's focusing on what you do want as opposed to what you don't want. Does that make sense?
Powerful.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just wanted to say thank you to Alicia for,
yeah,
you know, I know how hard and how difficult it's been for you to share that part of your life, and I know it's been, you know, a journey and a process for you. So, you know, kudos to you for stepping outside of your comfort zone and actually taking a breath and sharing that with everybody, because I know that there's somebody out there, it might just be you, that needed to hear Alicia's story, because it was something that you may be going through in your life, and or something similar. And you know, she's a true testament that if she can do it, you can do it. So thank you so much, Alicia. It's awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing about when you're setting your outcome is it's like feeling it in the present moment as if you already have it, starting with the already have. So no matter what your current physical surroundings are, no matter what's currently around you, I mean, before Alicia's, you know, was able to go through the divorce, I mean, she sat there in a moment and she imagined what it would be like to be in that positive space with that, you know, of what she did want. She saw it first, right? And it's seeing and feeling it as if you've already got it. So that it's really important when you're setting that out, when you're like writing it out. So you say, you know, like I do an exercise with people to manifest resources out of thin air, and something that we do. Part of it is you're writing out something as if it's happening in the present moment, and it's something when you connect with us down below, you get access to that. Actually, it's one of the things that's possible to have access to within our system. But it's you know, the step-by-step, you know, process of how to do that. You know, and we do it in, you know, 90-day cycles and everything. You know, specific in a few days and 90-day cycles. It's all in there. So, but really to in the present moment, experiencing it now, not like in the future, and opening up to even more possible than your mind can possibly imagine, right? And understanding whether you want to believe this is your subconscious, whether you believe it's the universe, you want to call it God, whatever you want to call it, but there's infinite possibilities. And your mind may come up with something conscious, but there could be something even way better, and to open up to a concrete, what you want, and then also, or anything better than I can possibly imagine, right? So you're going for a goal, but it can happen sooner or fast or better than you can possibly imagine. And allow that opening. Allow that opening.
So Valerie, so you actually segued right into number 3 when you said,
yep,
Alicia visualized that life that she wanted. She visualized that. So number 3 is daily visualization in the present time. So you touched on a lot of that. Was there anything else, like, you know, I know we spoke about always staying in that abundance mindset and having an attitude of gratitude is what I like to call it. So when you're staying positive and you are doing things on a daily basis that will keep you in that mindset, in that frame of mind where you know that life is what you will have. You're thinking, I thank God daily already, because I know I'm going to meet that next goal that I want to meet. So when you stay in that mindset and not only just having an attitude of gratitude, but an abundance mindset where you realize it's okay for me to give all this major value for free on this Hangout because I'm helping people, and that is in return going to come back to me. I'm going to get major value from somewhere else as well. So knowing that there's enough out here for all of us to have millions, right? So I'm going to share with you the keys and the success tips and the strategies on how you can manifest it. Because it's all going to come back in a circle where I'm going to get that same abundance right back to me. It's so important to just always be in this daily frame of mind where you know that you will achieve it. That you can give and give and give, and you're not going to deplete yourself, because the more that you give is the more that it comes back to you. So did anyone else want to elaborate on the daily visualizations or the having an attitude of gratitude or abundance mindset as our step number 3?
Yeah, I remember
Definitely.
I did a lot of Bubble baths. I'm just gonna say you gotta do your own thing that you gotta do for that. Go ahead, Greta.
Bubble bath.
Did you just say bubble bath?
Yes, I said to do that, you gotta do bubble baths.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one way, you know, to really be able to, you know, take that moment and that time for yourself to visualize that life that you've been dreaming of, is to, you know, take that moment for yourself, whatever time of the day it is for you, whenever you feel, you know, the impulse, the desire to hop in the bath and do some visualizing and surround yourself with the bubbles and just, you know, just allow yourself to really be like a child. Be like it was like when you were a child, and your imagination, like there was no ceiling, there was no roof on it. It just went on and on and on, and you know, one thought just kept leading to another and another and another and another. So many times, I think that, you know, I was watching this this video with Bob Proctor, and how he was talking about so many of us aren't actually, we think we're thinking, but we're actually not. You know, it's just, our minds have been kind of shut down, I think. After we get to a certain point, everything just becomes automatic. And, you know, you're just doing the same things each and every day. And you actually almost stop thinking. And that's one of the things, you know, is to just, you know, take back, you know, that step number one, becoming aware, you know, and getting clear, allowing yourself to think again, awaken your mind, and start to really allow your imagination to just run wild. And take those times, whether you use meditation. That's something that I like to do personally. I love meditation. My kids even do meditation with me, you know, and that can increase, you know, if you have children, involve your children in this visualization with you. It's so important. Drive around. We've done that before. Drive around in neighborhoods that you want to live in, you know, and allow your children to just run wild with it, because they'll come up with some amazing things that you wouldn't have thought of yourself. It's like your own mini mastermind with your kids. And what better people to visualize with than the ones that you love, the ones that you live with, you know, the ones that you want to live your life with. So yeah, visualization is so big and so powerful. So yeah, I mean,
I want to jump in on that, because it's something that one of our mentors who's oh my goodness, multi-millionaire, and when he had a few kids at that point, and he was in such a bad situation. They didn't even have, they had less than $2 to even buy a loaf of bread, and he came across a mentor that said very same thing. And so he would drive through the neighborhoods that he wanted to live in, and feel like he lived there. He didn't just say, I wish I lived here. Wouldn't it be nice if I lived here? Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that would be nice. I mean, none of that. No, he drove through. It was like, I live here.
Yes.
Where, you know, which street, which you know, this is my neighborhood, right? And feel like that
and
was
then increase the belief.
Very different space. And this was before he had it. Before he had it. That's what he did. He did a lot of that stuff, if that's part of what it is for you, right? Some things you can't visually go, but I mean, you can go, you can look at pictures, you can see things. And like, for example, I don't know if any of you have ever planned a trip, but you know, you book your flights and you're looking at the different resorts and everything. And like, I remember one time I was in between jobs and I wanted to go, I figured I wanted to go to Kauai. And so I was looking at all these different places in Kauai, and I knew I was going. So every time I was looking, because I knew I had the money, it was just a matter of me picking out where I was going to go. And I would, you know, I'd go and I would look and I would book. I would look at the different things. It's like, okay, this hotel or this hotel, this place. What excitement do I want to go? You know, what things do I want to do while I'm there? All this stuff. And it was like from that place of I have the money. I'm just deciding what I want to do, right? and then think, oh, wouldn't that be like, oh, that's still what that's like. Okay, yeah. So looking at the pictures in the lobby, looking at the pictures in the area, what does the pool look like? What's the view out the windows? Feeling like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. But it's knowing that and I'm booking it right now and it's mine, right? Just making, so either, you can be like what it's like to shop for things where the money isn't the issue. It's just choosing what you want, right? Does that, do I like the pool? I don't know, how far, is it, do I like the view of the beach from where it is? Or maybe I can get a better view over here, right? It's like, it's coming from that perspective, and feeling things as if you already have them. But yeah, whatever that is, if it was a car, you'd go and you'd test drive the car. I mean, that's just, but, other things that are not so tangible, like for me, which was wanting to be able to make a difference. I saw myself, standing on stage. I saw myself speaking to people like I'm speaking right now. I saw myself doing these things. And if I saw someone else doing it, I would allow myself, I would allow it as a trigger going, oh, that's the feeling. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You see the background pictures of somebody standing on stage, and I would like allow myself. It's like, oh, that's what it feels like. Okay, that's mine. It's mine now. Now I know what's happening because I know what it feels like. The moment you allow that and you go into that's what it feels like, it's yours, and you stick and you can stick with that. It's a daily practice. So one of the things is you write it out. You write out what you want in the present tense, like with all of your senses involved. And you read it to yourself twice a day. I mean, I know people that have it on they can put it on their iPhone or their smartphone, and they hear their own voice coming back at them twice a day. Other people want to read it. Everybody's different. They're auditory, they're visual. You can have it like Google on your phone, like Google Calendar, that it reminds you, so that you can do it, twice a day. First thing in the morning, the evening is good, or more, whatever you need more. And we're going to get into more on that in the next step of how to do all this stuff, but really at least having that at least twice. Oh, here we go. At least twice a day.
He's not naked.
All right. I think this is a good break to share some of the comments that we're getting from our viewers. They're so excited about receiving this information. I know B and Flea, I believe that's Felicia out there. She says, yes, Napoleon Hill spoke about the power of mastermind and starting it at home first and foremost. So Greta, when you talked about doing these things with your children, taking your children out with you on your, when you're visualizing it. And so it's so powerful. It just increases, I wanted to share, it increases your belief. All of these things help to increase your belief system, and the more you believe, the more you're going to take action on reaching that goal. I know we have Patricia out here. She's so excited to be here, and I know, Patricia, you have your pen and paper, you record it out, and you're getting all of these steps. So right now, before I say this thing, I do see a note from Felicia, I believe it is, who's saying that she was so excited, Alicia, that you made that change in your life. So anyone else want to say anything before we go on to step number 4, which is monitor and recondition the mind? Anyone?
I just thought of one thing that I forgot to say on the meditation side, which is and this kind of leads into number 4 a little bit, but it's going into the meditation. The goal of initially the goal of the meditation, you might be just wanting to focus on your breath, but ultimately is to really go into a space of feeling this essence of who you really are, and our connectedness to all of it, where the abundance is all there, the infinite potential is all there, and all of it, because it's within that space of that awareness, and when you tap into it, there's this automatic bubble of joy and gratitude just comes flying up, and you know when you get there, because it's really breathing into living and remembering that space of who you really are. And I'll step into it when you're ready to go into number 4 of that, because it's a different understanding of who it is that you really are, because I think a lot of us have a misperception of who we really are.
Right, that's right. So that's actually number 5. So the perception piece, that's awesome, Valerie. Thank you for sharing that.
Well,
Alicia, did you want to go ahead and start number 4?
Yeah. Oh, you want me to do it?
We'll all jump in and help. We'll all jump in and help.
Okay. Our number step. So number 1 was awareness. Number 2 is setting that clear outcome. Number 3 was visualization. And number 4 is how we're going to really monitor and recondition our mind to make sure that we made the right decision. We are knowing what we are doing. We're monitoring our feelings, how we react to things. So here we're reconditioning, because we're going to go those ups and downs in our mountains and valleys and saying, did we make the right goal? I'm making that $20,000 per month, but I haven't made it there, so now my goal is $1,000. No, you got to keep going to that $20,000 a month. You got to set that goal. You made that decision, right? Why did you say just 1,000 when you made that decision to 20,000? You know, it's that we got to recondition our mind to make sure that we are solid. We made that decision, we made that condition, and we were consistent. And you know, something's going to keep you solid. So what are you going to do to recondition your mind? I know Greta's ready to stay out. Say something on this one.
Well, yeah, I love this Hangout. It gets me all fired up. It's just amazing. Monitoring, this is really, really important. And this is something that definitely I've been, more and more aware of. Being a part of this community has brought so much awareness to this area. And, when I think back to the way my mind used to work and how deep I used to go back, into the darkness of my mind and to the negative thoughts and everything, to where I am now and how quickly I can just stop those thoughts, and realize that that's not me, that's not who I am anymore. That's not. It's amazing how once you become aware of your thoughts and what they're. Can you hear me? Because I can't hear.
You can hear you.
Okay, because I can't hear you guys right now, but it's all good. I'll fiddle around with my little thing. My kids, touch my cord and I can't hear. Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, catching those negative thoughts is so important. We all have them. It's okay. It's normal. But it's really, really important to bring that awareness into yourself and be strong enough in those moments to just stop them. I even struggle sometimes, when I'm tired, maybe I've had a long night with the kids, and it's a little more difficult to stop those thoughts, stop that train wreck from happening at times. It still happens. But it's I used to go like months where I would have months of times in my life where I would just be in this negative space. I don't do that anymore. I'm not there anymore. So maybe you're in that place now. I don't know where you are right now with that yourself, but I know that you're probably being on this Hangout with us right now. You probably already have an awareness of that, and you're already working on that. And it will, wherever you are, it will get easier and easier as time goes by, and those thoughts will shift more and more. The more that you're just focused on that, and you want something different. You've made the decision to be a more positive person, to monitor those thoughts and recognize where they're coming from, and how to change them. So yeah, that's definitely. I'm just reading these notes here.
Can I hop in on that thought?
Yeah, and also, sorry, Valerie. I know I can see that you're talking.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You go ahead. No, I was just going to say, it's talking about where they come from. I wanted to sort of address where those negative thoughts come from.
I can't. I'm going to pass it off because I can't hear you right now, and I'm going to fix my cord.
Okay, yeah, it could be a cord thing. 1 second, sweetheart. Put this in a second. So, this is part of the, in a way, part of the awareness thing. It's a whole other step of awareness. Is that And I didn't know, I didn't even understand this so much until fairly recently. I actually learned this from Michael Bernard Beckwith, and I'm sure you might have heard it from other places as well. But that our thoughts, they're just like as we're sitting here right now, and there are radio waves, like the radio, the waves. There's physical waves and television and satellite. All of these, they're invisible waves that are flipping through our bodies right now, like they are. Right now, they're right now. It's not like they don't go around our bodies or whatever. I mean, they are, as we're sitting here, we can't see them, but they're there. There's radio waves, and the radio, you turn to the right channel and it accesses it. The TV is on the right, the cable, if it's cable or satellite, there's all these satellite signals going in and out, heading to our phones and all over the place. And we like that, there are thought waves. Okay, there are thought waves, and they're flipping, and we are actual receivers of thought waves. Even if not consciously, subconsciously, we are receivers of thought waves. And any negative thought that has ever happened out there, it's floating out there. It's floating out there in space, in here, in you want to call it the world. There's the Earth, the planet, and then there's the world. And there's all these thoughts. Now, when you have a negative, I want to almost get out of the way of saying when you have a negative thought. When there is a negative thought that you're aware of, oh, baby, they just woke up. Hang on 1 second, guys.
Well, I'll chime in while Valerie is taking care of the boys. I wanted to say, and this, before I do that, let me just share some of the comments that our audience put up there. We have Adina who says that she loves this and that she's been doing just that. Her imagination has been growing and growing, and she actually went online, looked at a real estate website, picking out houses for her new home, and she's printing out the detail pages, all the stats on it, has a vision board, so she's right on point with, using her imagination and visualizing what she wants in life. Being Flea says, yes, monitoring our thoughts and self-talk is so important, and every chance we get to catch them, we have the power to shift it to what we want. And I think, Valerie, that's what you were going to talk about, correct?
Yeah.
Is she back?
I don't think she's back yet. Can you hear me now?
Well, yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah,
yes.
I'm coming back.
Yes, I can hear you now. Woohoo! She's back.
Sorry, guys, this is what's about to happen around here. The life of an entrepreneur. Okay. So, yeah, so there's these thoughts floating out there, right? And some thoughts, they come in, right? And it could be something you physically hear that somebody says, or something you see on the radio or TV or whatever. But beyond that, there's also additional, they're just out there. And unfortunately, a lot of what we do is we hear a thought, and it could be something negative that a parent or a teacher or someone says to you, or a child if you were bullied or whatever. I've had all of the above. But, it's like, we have a choice of whether we want to believe them as reality or not. That whether you believe them, and we don't need to believe them, because I will tell you something. This is how you can tell whether it's, because there's the absolute reality. You want to, if you want to call it that, the love intelligence of the universe. You want to call it your higher self. You want to call it God. Whatever you want to call it. There's an absolute reality, and I choose to believe this because it is much more powerful to believe it than to believe there is nothing. Even if all you do is you believe in love, that is good enough. The absolute reality is that everything. I'm going to go back to the initial awareness. That we all have everything. All our needs are met. They really are. All our needs are met. In reality, what happens is if we buy into the negative thoughts, we start placing, because the universe is in process of bringing it all to us in steps that we may not even understand. There's stuff in motion, right? I'm going to give a quick example here, and this will get a little bit into perception in a second, but the person that says, I want this house, I want to have this incredible, gorgeous house, and then the house that they're in burns to the ground. It's part of the process. For me, I wanted to be home with my kids. What happens? The studio goes bankrupt, and everybody in my department is laid off, because it would have been a bigger thing for me to leave, but I was like, it made it easy, because it's like, woohoo, right? Universe is adjusting. But the thing is that everything is always working in our favor. In our favor. So anytime you have a negative feeling about yourself or about anything, like if there's a negative feeling about connected to a thought, you can know that that's something that is connected to, not connected to reality with a capital R. Now, I'm not talking about what's physical, and this may take a lot for some folks to understand because it took me a while to get this to. It's not what's physically in your environment. And the reality is you may have been buying into negative thoughts and negative ways of thinking, especially if you're saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. You keep attracting the very thing that you don't want, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, let's say, for example, there's somebody that, has a negative belief that, this always happens to them. Bad things, this kind of thing, or these kind of people always treat me a particular way, right? And they have this thing like, well, that's just how people are with me. That's just the way it is with people with me. Certain people are like this with me, right? And then they start seeing all the people around them treating them that way, and they go, well, look, see, I was right. See, that's my experience. My experience tells me that that's true and that's reality, but the reality is it's not. All that is a reflection of what happens when you think that.
Your perception. Val, can I just chime in real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right on point, and that's so important about the perception, but I want to just back up just a little bit with talking about those negative thoughts you were talking about and how they're embedded into our mind, and I totally agree with you. I know that I've always wanted to be a doctor, and the school counselor says, Keisha, no, I was born in '69, so can you believe a black woman wanting to be an obstetrician? Get out of here, right? So the counselor says, no, why don't you choose something else? Why don't you maybe an accountant? And my mother shared that story with me. I didn't remember it, but sure, lo and behold, first year of college, I changed my major from pre-med to accounting, which was my backup plan because that was embedded in my mind. It was embedded. So what we want to share with you is that you need to recondition those thoughts. And how we suggest you do it is your daily readings. Daily readings, at least 30 minutes. Audios, I know Greta shared last week that sometimes when she can't get the reading in, she gets that audio book right off of YouTube. She puts it on in the car when she's riding with the children, and I do the same thing. I downloaded the CDs and different things on my media player and my iTunes, and my children, they get upset because as they're doing a shuffle of the music, my books start playing. They're like, Mom! I'm like, yes, you need to hear it. So, we suggest that you do these things to recondition your mind so that you don't have so many pop-ups of those negative thoughts because you know how powerful you are. And so we're going to, with that, now segue into number 5, which is perception, because it all is how you see things, how you really believe it. Go ahead, Val.
I want to stop before we go into perception, though, because having this understanding, right, that your thoughts are not really you. This is what I want people to understand, that their thoughts are not, we have a mind, but we are not our minds. We have the ability to be aware of our thoughts, and just think about that for a second, okay? Who is it that's aware of the thought? We are separate from our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts, we are not our minds. And so any perception they may have about yourself in any negative form, it's not you. It's not who you really are. And so that opens up anything to be possible, so that what can happen is you'll start to be aware, like even now after this, you're going to start to be aware of a thought. Like as you're doing this, as you're making your outcome, and a thought comes up that says, oh, well, I can't have that, or that's not going to work, or that won't happen. All of those thoughts, like the moment you make the intention, if you have all these, I don't know. Sorry, guys. That if you have these, yeah, I know. That if you have these thoughts, right, that they're not who you really are. So I got distracted there for a second. And that what you can do when you're aware, you can start to become aware that when you have a thought that's a negative thought, like as you're going through, especially with these intentions, they're going to come up. If you're spending most of your time, like say you do your twice a day and you do this thing, but the rest of the time of the day, you're future pacing the worst case scenario, that's what you're going to create. and this is a very powerful thing, because I used to think this was it's the responsible thing of what's the worst possible thing that can happen. If I'm responsible, I'm going to think of what's the worst possible thing that can happen so I can be prepared for it. Yes, I have this dream and I have this goal, but what's the worst possible thing that can happen and how will I handle that? And you're thinking that's the responsible thing to do. But it's not. It's completely irresponsible, because what happens is if you're spending your time figuring out the worst possible scenario and how you're going to handle it, like how you're going to juggle this bill with that bill, what if the money doesn't come in and I got to juggle this bill with that bill, which one am I going to pay and which one am I not going to pay, that whole little mind flip, and I know a lot of you are going through it, you do it every month, right? If you're focusing all your energy into that, you're going to attract more of that. You're going to attract more of that. So it's really a matter of realizing that when you go there, I think where those kind of thoughts, the most responsible thing is to focus on your goal and your dream and realizing that. And every time you're aware that you go down there, please, my friends, this is important because I did this too. This is a huge mistake that I made, and I want to share it with you so you don't make the mistake that I made and that a lot of people make. Because I started this process, and then I was aware that I'd gone down this negative track, and then I got down on myself for having gone there, which then only spirals it further. Okay? So I would love to suggest to all of you that whenever you notice, because now you're aware, when you notice yourself going there, when you notice yourself future pacing, like thinking of the worst case scenario and planning for the worst case scenario, and you notice that you're doing it, or you notice that you've got a thought that came up that said, oh, that won't work, or that can't happen, or not for me, or whatever those thoughts are, I'm not good enough, or no one's going to believe me, you name it, all the thoughts that go flipping through, right? That you notice it, and then give yourself so much credit for noticing it. Yeah. Go, wow! Wow, I noticed it. I'm separated. I'm right there. That raises your vibration and makes the process of the manifestation even more powerful. So
that's powerful.
Yeah, so that's just a really, you know.
Really quickly, I know it's so close to the hour here, but I wanted to say one more thing that you reminded me of, Valerie, is that you know, our dear friend Ellie Walsh and so many other people says that when we're focusing on the wrong things, we need to focus on the right things. And there's questions, we're asking ourselves questions. You said a few things. How could this happen, or this can't happen? No, we need to know, how can it happen? Why, not why does this happen, or how can I do this? How can I? So we need to start asking ourselves the right questions so that it shifts things. It shifts it in our mind. It's like Valerie says, the vibrations will shift because you're now taking control, you're gaining power, and you're asking yourself how you're going to get to that outcome, So, and Valerie, you said let's not go to perception, but really you talked a lot about perception also, because it's not ourselves, that's not who we are, and when we believe that, and when we receive that we are this powerful person, that we're not, you know, this procrastinator, or not this person that doesn't know how to handle her time. It's how you perceive yourself in the circumstance, in the situation, that will give you the power. You have to learn to reframe things. Mm-hmm. Don't look at it as negative. Don't look at it as something that's going to hurt you. See everything, like Valerie says, as this is all good. I have everything that I need. May not look like it right now, but when you believe that you have everything and really perceive it, that you have the skills, the capabilities within you to achieve that outcome, you will clearly achieve it. It's so important how you perceive things and reframe it. I mean, our audience, and I love you guys out there, and you guys are really interacting with us. We love it, we love it, we love it. And it just, I want to share that, how, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but I got it here. It's about reframing. You know, we've all been through some things. Alicia, Valerie, Greta, myself, you out there watching, whether you're watching with us live or, you know, on the recording. Those things, don't look at them as negative things. Look at them as things that help you become the stronger woman, the stronger man that you are, that helps you to, you know, get to this next level in your life, because clearly we could be in the woe is me, these worst things keep happening to me, or we can clearly look at it as something that is wow, that happened, but guess what I learned from that? Now I know I can see it coming from afar, and I know what to do, how to shift things so that I can divert from that, or I can not be affected by that, so have it impact my life so much, because now I don't see it as such a bad thing or so negative. Perceiving, perception is so powerful. Anyone else want to speak on that?
Yeah.
Alicia?
Yeah, I wanted to just have on one other piece on perception, which is the process of what we're doing. So you've got yourself and you're focusing in the positive, catching your negative thoughts, and you've got your thing. You're reading your audio daily, and you're going through. You're doing your outcome statements twice a day. You're visualizing. You're meditating. You're doing all this, right? And then something happens. Some cookie happens in your environment. This is where perception comes into a key moment. Is understanding. Because this is a lot of times where people can kind of shift. I gave a little bit of the example a bit earlier. We talk about the person whose house burns down. Or me, I get laid off while I'm on maternity leave. Or stuff happens, right? I'm going to give sort of an odd analogy. Like, for example, I remember it was like Michael Bernard Beckwith tells this story. He was at the airport, with his wife, Ricky Beebe, and they missed that their gate had changed. And so they missed their flight. Right? And a lot of folks can go down a really negative spiral and I missed my flight. But the reality was what ended up happening is they ended up bumping into someone at the airport that they had been attempting to have a meeting with for quite some time. And they were able to connect with that person and actually have the conversations that they wanted to have. Right? And then from that, it gets kind of funny. They actually end up missing their next flight. And again, they bump into somebody else. Right? And they end also that they needed to connect with. Or the times where you're stuck in traffic, and you could go down this whole negative spiral about what could happen possibly negative, but it could be leading you some things. It's like the universe is lining things up, and it could be from everything as mundane as getting stuck in traffic or missing a flight to other very big, powerful things like your house burning down or getting laid off or whatever. There's so many things, or all of a sudden something massive, drastic happens that makes it so clear. Wow. Okay, I'm getting a divorce. It makes it easy to do things, right? So it's like the universe is moving in our favor. So it's to not judge what's in front of you and to always know, even if your conscious mind can't fathom how this is moving things in a positive direction, and as the process of, I call it like unwrapping your present, unwrapping your outcome that's already yours, to release judgment on it and just go, wow. I don't know how, but it's really cool. I'm so excited to see how this is going to pan out. Because if you think of your life of so many different things that have happened, that something may have happened and you don't realize that after the fact you go back and go, you know what? If that didn't happen, because this happened, it led to this, which led to this, which led to this, and I'm in the place that I always wanted to be because that thing happened. So it's being open to, and in the moment, being consciously going, okay, wow, don't know how, but this is really cool. We're going to see how it pans out, as opposed to going, oh man, I can't make this law of attraction visualization thing work, and and all this stuff, going down that whole negative rabbit hole. It's that perception of trusting and knowing that that process is there. So that's the only other thing. I know we're going a little bit longer here, but we have six and seven that I would really love for us to get to.
I'm sure everybody else wants to know what they are too.
yeah, they're important. They're important.
All right, so number 6 is inside of taking action, and we talked to this about probably in each step. So you've got to find that action step between that higher self and creating from the conscious level to subconscious level, and what you're going to do about making it more clear. Because I remember one of the trainings that if you have, like, you really want to make money, but there's something that's bothering you in the way that's stopping you from making money. Maybe it's a religious thing, that's something that's totally against like what you believe or what you stand for. You're not going to be able to take that action. So we always have to find that way that, abundantly ready for that action. And some of the things you don't know exactly what that's clear on. So we're going through the rest of the steps on how we can take that efficient action. And for me, it's consistency and saying that same creed every day. I don't care. You got to find that enthusiasm. You got to find that whatever pumps you up to say it with full feeling, full force. That that's saying that you got to do it. And I am so lack on this, and this is probably something I myself need to work on. This is where you need to start memorizing it in a way that you can recite it with enthusiasm, recite it with action, and find that creed that you want to get out there to make sure you do. Because I'm on the Think and Grow Rich call, and they have one there. There's one in the Law of Success and the Think and Grow Rich book, and there was one in another group, how she prepares herself vibrationally to make sure that it's easy. This will move easy throughout my day, that I feel secure in making the $20,000 per month or whatever gets you to that affirmation. This is the action that you're going to take daily, no matter what, and you're reaching that goal. So I love step number 6 because it applies through like all of them because you have to take that action daily. What are you doing? And that action has to overcome the negative stuff. So if you're not getting enough leads, what are the action you're going to do to help make sure that opportunity is open for you to get leads into your business. So if you're not taking enough action, you've got to take 20 times more action than you think, oh, I put the link out there on my Facebook wall, my friend saw it. But you got to I got to put it on public, then I got to share in groups. You got to take more action inside to make that more opportunity for that to happen. It's not just luck. It's not just going to be green on St. Patrick's Day. Take that action.
Well, you know, I'm kind of, oh boy, I'm going to cause controversy here. Sorry about that. Because in some ways, and this is, Keisha touched on this, and she mentioned Ellie, love you, Ellie. Keisha touched on this, and she can dig into more on this, but it's really about asking yourself what actions to take. Like when you're in this space, right? And you've done all this, and you're doing your visualization, and you're doing your meditation, you're in there, the very next step right afterwards, and we actually even have a process. When you click the button below and you connect with us, we actually have, there's a whole step-by-step. We actually have a PDF that when you get into, there's a way to get into our system where you can actually have access to all of that with a step-by-step process of how to do what I'm talking about here. But within that, it's asking yourself, what action do I take here? What's my next step? Whether it is leads, even though it's like whatever it doesn't matter, whatever it is that you need to do, you ask yourself, what's the next step? Because and instead of coming from a place of, I got to do all these things to make it happen, it's like, what's my next step? And it might be a whole bunch of different steps. Okay, I do this, and now I do this, and that, and what's the order of the steps? Like, we have a blueprint, but even within that, there's enough of it that you can. There's everybody. We all have a unique way of expressing ourselves. We have our unique gifts that we bring into the world, and this is about you giving your unique gifts. I'm going to give a weird analogy on this and how powerful this is, because it could be stuff that may not even make sense, and it's opening up to this as well. Because this is where the magic, and it really is. It can seem like magic, but it's not really. Harry Potter. Any of you that are familiar with the Harry Potter movies, there's one Harry Potter movie where Harry takes this luck potion. And when he takes the luck potion, all his decisions, he ends up knowing where to go and what to do next. And no matter where he goes, everything's going to go work for the ultimate goal. Now, he had his outcome was he needed to connect with this particular professor to find out what happened with, what happened a long time ago with this guy called Voldemort. Okay, he needed to find, or you know who, right? He needed to go find him and find out this very important thing. Right? So he takes the luck potion, and all of a sudden he goes, I'm going to go for a walk. I just feel like going for a walk. I just got this feeling like I got to go for a walk, and I got to go walk this way. And everybody, his friends are going, what are you doing? You got to go find the professor. You got to go do this, that, and go over there. He's like, no, I just know I got this feeling. I got this feeling. I go take a walk. He follows his gut, and he takes a walk, and sure enough, he bumps into the professor, someplace you wouldn't normally think he would be. And events go from here to here to here, and he just keeps following his instincts and what he needs to do and say, He listens to his gut at every time, and it makes no logic. You would think it would make no logical sense, but it ultimately leads to the very situation that allows him to get the information that he needs. He's out.
Bob talked about that. Intuition.
You got me so excited. I'm so happy that you mentioned that. Yeah, because Keisha, as you were saying, mentioning Bob Proctor, because we listened to the same. You shared that with us, and I listened to it last night, and it just really got me so excited. I'm so happy you touched on that, Valerie, because that really is so powerful. We walk around in our lives, and we have like this power within us, this intuition that we all have inside of ourselves, and so many times, so much more ignore it than we do actually take action on those feelings. I mean, they're so deep in there, and sometimes there's, it's like sirens could be going off. There could be, like lights flashing, and it's so obvious, like this intuition that's just shouting out within ourselves, and we just, I don't know what it is. It's this thing that maybe, because we're not thinking anymore, or we're just, going on with the everyday. We get so used to doing the same thing every day that we forget that it's there for a reason. You have those feelings. We have this intuition for a reason, and we're here to not just live that boring, everyday, mundane life. Life is beautiful. Life is exciting. Life is waiting for you to take action and to listen to that intuition that you have within yourself, to create those dreams that you know you have, that you think of, and that maybe it pops up, but then you allow that fear, that doubt in yourself to take over. And that's not you. That's not you. Just ignore that. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge, okay, yeah, that's great, but that's not me. Those aren't my thoughts. That's not who I am. I'm capable of this, and this. This is where I'm going. This is what's happening right now. I'm living this right now. And the results will start to manifest and show up in your life. It's amazing. It's magical. Listen to those intuitions. They're so powerful. And it's funny because it makes me think of friends that I have, other moms that I associate with, like these moms here, other moms in my community that I live in, and that we talk to each other, and people, you tend to compare to others or think, oh well, I'm not, maybe I should be doing it that way, maybe I should be parenting that way, or whatever it is. And the thing is that each child is different. You inevitably are a child. You're a person. You're unique to yourself. Your family is unique to you, and you have intuitions that for everything in life. And raising a family is one thing where you have these intuitions that sneak up, and then you worry, okay, well, my mother-in-law is not going to like it, or so you're trying to please everybody. But you know what? You really need to just listen to your intuitions, allow them to have a voice, allow them to just allow yourself to take action on them, because they're there for a reason. They really are. Stop ignoring them, because
that's so powerful that you said that, Greta. Before we go on to number 7, I just want to say this, guys, which you mentioned, which is community support, mentorship. But before we do, what you ladies touched on, our audience is so excited. Patricia says, you ladies always rock, and you are so to the point. And B and Flea says, yes, action is the key and shows you faith in believing what's coming. And you just said that, Greta. She also said, listening to your intuition is super important too. Love these stories. Michelle says, I listen to my intuition and gut instinct. She said, every time that I've ignored it, I've regretted it. So now I've learned to trust it and go with it. When you know your heart knows, it knows. So it's so important. Trust, faith, you know, that's what Valerie was talking about, asking yourself and having faith and trusting in that. And so, guys, I know you received so much value from our hangout. We want to just go over number 7, which is community, mentorship, support, and that's why we're here. We're here for you. If someone else, you know, sent you this link, they wanted you to join in on their community as well. And if you click the link, you will get connected to them. So, guys, let's go ahead and reach out on number 7. If either one of you want to jump in and take that lead, and then we'll chime in before we finish out.
I'll add one thing. I think on this number 7, a lot of people are fearful because of the community or the culture that they might be sucked into, and they're not sure really what it is. And I think that was a lot of people stopping me going, you know, I don't associate with this culture because maybe they have some religious beliefs, they're cussing too much or not sure where they're coming from, and, you know, all that kind of perception that they might have from this culture or community, and that might be something that can stop them as well. So I think to overcome that, you have to go back through all these other steps we went through and find out where to make sure that you aligned yourself with that intuition to step out and be your own community, be your own culture, have your own voice, and what you want to put out there for others to know what your success dream, what your vision is, for what people want to know who you are. And so you're joining a community, you're joining a culture, but you have your own voice inside this culture that's going to be welcome, that's going to be supportive, that's going to be, you know, giving you some strength to make your voice even stronger. And I think that's something that people really want to gravitate, that they have a voice in the community. They have a voice in this new culture that they're wanting to be involved in and being a part of, you know, everybody else. We're all surrounded with open arms and hearing your voice and having you be a part of that. So I think that's very powerful in reaching out to mentorship and being in a community like that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So powerful.
And yeah, and we have, you know, all one thing in common, which is that we all believe and know that we can achieve our dreams. And that's the thing, is you're surrounded by people. And I know, what is it? Your life is going to be the equivalent of the, you know, the 5 people you surround yourself around the most. Would they say that in 5 years, something like that? But I mean, you're surrounded by so many successful people that are putting everything that we're talking about into action, right? Millionaires and people that are doing so. I mean, it's like you're surrounded by people that are actually achieving all these different things in their lives, right? And being in a community that has open heart and really there to support you, because doing all this it's challenging to do by yourself. But there's something powerful when you have, like you say, even with your kid, the mastermind, when you have more than one and you connect together, and when you have this massive community of people that are very heartfelt and can support you in your belief. Because I know a lot of folks out there, they might be very isolated. There may be nobody around them that gets this or understands this at all. You may have felt like you were a complete, you know, outcast or outball from, you know, everything else that's around you for believing in all of this and understanding it to a degree, just wanting, determined to prove it and make it happen, and, you know, to realize that it's possible in your life. And to be, for me, I can just say, being connected to these ladies and being connected to this community, and you know, we have a sisterhood within all this. I mean, to be connected with all of these people that I can, at any time of day, 24/7, doesn't matter what's going on, I could be connecting and speaking to someone anywhere in the world, because we are all on different time zones around the world. That and to have the support in my back, no matter what's going on, to you know, that I can reach out and say, okay, here's what's going on, you know, and to be guided back to center, being guided back in, and to believe in what is possible. And it's the audios and all of that, it's important, but it's having people that say, did you listen to your audio today? Go do that now. Go in, go do it now. Go back, stop. You deserve this. It's okay. Go listen. Go listen. Go read. You know, you can do this. Go listen. Go read. Feed yourself. Did you meditate? Go meditate. You know, have you asked yourself a question? What's your name? I don't know what to do next. Okay, breathe. We have the blueprint. Now ask yourself, what's your next step? What are you going to blog about? What do you want to say? What's, whatever it is. Is it a keyword? And then we'll encourage you back into these steps. We'll lead you back into the steps, right? Because sometimes life happens, and and you know that you're working, but it just helps so much to have that and to be surrounded by it, and just the osmosis of it, especially when you get in person and we're gonna see each other, and we're gonna be in Nashville, right? To get together and see each other in person and connect. There's something so powerful when you can connect together as well. We have the ability to do it through the internet, but also connecting together physically in person, which is just amazing that you have that opportunity to do that. So, anyways, that's what I wanted to speak to there.
Awesome. I was going to also mention, just for those of you who are maybe watching, and maybe you're kind of at a place where you've been sitting on the fence. Maybe you've been sitting on the fence for a while. Maybe you've watched these Hangouts with us. Maybe you've watched us on other Hangouts, or seen other things for a while now. And maybe you're just feeling kind of scared or shy, or feel like, I could never do this. I could never hop on a Hangout like this and talk and share my voice. Valerie was talking about, was it Valerie? I can't remember. Talk about having your own voice. I think it was Valerie. Having your own voice. That your voice is important. That what you have to say matters. And that in this community it will be supported. Whether I am sure if you've been following us for a while that you have seen something, heard something that you can relate to. I mean, that's why you're here with us right now. That there's a reason why you're still here with us, why you're still watching right now. And there's a little part of yourself that's maybe fearful. And I'm telling you, I was there. I would be shaking, just like so nervous to hop on a Hangout like this. I mean, just to cut on my camera on my phone was just like my worst nightmare. And I did it. It started off in my daughter's closet, trembling, shaking, playing with my pen over and over again. All you could hear was the clicking, and I was crying, and and that's where I had made a decision. To go to the next event. That's what it was for me. The next event, to actually surround myself physically with these people, like Valerie had just mentioned, that we're going to be in Nashville in just like 5 weeks or something. I can't remember, and I'm just so excited to be able to go again and to be able to mastermind in person again with these amazing ladies, because the first time that I did that I made that decision, I cut that camera on, I cried, I broke through, and by the end of that video, I was just so pumped, so excited. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I just knew I was going to be there because I could see it, feel it, taste it, smell it. I experienced it before it happened. And because I made that decision, I'm here today on this Hangout, and I'm talking to you right now. And this could be you. This could be you in 6 months from now. This could be you.
Uh-oh.
And it's just the power of community, mentorship, the support that is here is priceless. It is priceless. My life, I will never look back. I will never look back, because just my life has completely transformed, and that's exactly why we are here and why we are so passionate, why we come back each and every week to share our message with you, because we believe in you and what you are capable of, and the power and the message that lies within yourself that is waiting to just burst out and just transform and make a difference in this world. So I'm getting all emotional here, but I'm so passionate about this.
Someone said call it something else. Don't call it goosebumps. Which one of our guests said to call it something else? Was it Paul Gardner?
Truth bumps.
Listen, it's the truth what you just spoke, and guys, you heard Greta. You know, you're still here, you're still watching. If you're not already a part of our community, then listen, click the link below and get connected to us, because it's an amazing community of entrepreneurs, of bloggers, of internet marketers, of, you know, the video. Your story is so powerful, and I didn't realize how powerful my story was, something I was so afraid to share. I just was watching a video, and he said it's just like life and death or something. Or was that, who was, so I don't know what it was I was watching. I'm always listening and watching something, but they said doing things like that, your body goes through so many different emotions. I mean, I was sweating. I had sweat across my lip here and over my forehead because I was sharing something that was so near and dear to my heart. But the overwhelming response that I received from sharing that part of my life was so amazing, and it gave me more courage and more confidence to share my story. Your story is just as powerful. It is just as important. More people, there are people that need to hear your story. There are people that they're waiting, and you know, actually it was a post that I said, this woman said, you know, it's arrogant of you to not share your story. You think you're being selfish, or you think you're being shy, or you think you're being timid. No, you're being arrogant, because your story is to be shared, because there's people that need to hear it. They need to know, so that they know that they can go on, that they can be like Greta and be at a point in their lives where they're not going to look back. They're going to keep moving towards their goals. So share your story. Connect with us. Be associated with this powerful community. I mean, listen to these. You've been listening to these ladies all this whole hour and a half. I mean, I didn't even know it's powerful. You know. So go ahead. I'm going to go ahead, because I know we want to tie it up and back it with a bow for you guys. I mean, because I'm just ecstatic from all the comments. Being Fleece says teamwork is the dream work, and I say that all the time. You ladies know that, and so plug into our community. Plug into our community. Go ahead, guys. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to be quiet. I'm just so excited and pumped up.
Alicia, you want to close this out, or I can close this out?
Yeah. If you've heard all the action steps today, take action. You know, we've went through 7 of them. 1, awareness. 2, getting really clear. 3, visualizing. 4, monitoring and reconditioning. 5, all that perception. 6, taking action. 7, being fulfilled in that community and having your voice. Make sure that you have taken wonderful notes here. Don't be selfish and share them out to the world. Take this page and share it out there. Make sure that other people know from your voice that you listen to this Hangout and what you learned and can apply into your lives. And get connect with us. You know, you see a time in your life you're ready to take more action. Click the link below and get connected with the person who invited you here. We're so thankful that you guys came on and was participating and gave us so full of, you know, lots of love out there. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Make sure you stay tuned and apply, because we'll have some of the more powerful tips to share with you guys next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. See you guys on our Millionaire Mindset fan page. Bye, guys.
Woohoo! Thank you.